The Eaton Fire is now 45% contained. That's compared to 35% yesterday. 14,000 acres have been burned.
Let's check in with Gigi right now. She's live in Altadena with the story behind a destroyed home. One of many, I should add. Good morning, Gigi.
You know, Roxia and Sandra, good morning, everyone. Behind every statistic that we read off, 4,600 structures lost, there is a story. It may be a business owner. It may be an employee who's lost his job, his or her job. And there are the homeowners. I'm in Altadena on the 50 block of Mendocino, just off of Fair Oaks. And this is what's left of my friend's home, George and Ellen. They've lived here for decades. There's nothing left. Both Ellen and her husband proudly served our country in the Navy. George was assigned to a submarine. He's 82 years old now. Ellen is 70. They've lost it all, including George's electric wheelchair. He is disabled. Now, they managed to get out with their rescue dogs, Keno and Louie. They're grateful to be alive. They're grateful they got their dogs out. But they're sad, of course, like everyone else is, at the pieces of their life that have been lost. We're talking about the baby pictures of their children, a pair of booties that meant the world to them, years of memories. They are the pieces that I talk about all the time, the pieces of people's lives that all the money in the world cannot replace. It was a tiny home, Ellen tells me, 850 square feet. But it was filled with the memories of a life of public service and of family. And you can see, and you saw there, Ellen and her husband, George. He lost his leg. He's disabled. That electric wheelchair helped him get around, and we're hoping that some kind, generous soul or company might be able to donate one to this family. They've lost everything. I'm going to ask photographer Tony Butita just to pan around. This is Mendocino, and the devastation here is just blocks and blocks long. This is between Fair Oaks and Glen Rose in Altadena. And you may be able to make that green Volkswagen Bug out. That actually belongs to George and Ellen. And it's still standing, an old Volkswagen. You know, they're thankful for the little pieces of what they have left. We found a wind chime here in the front yard, and I'm sure Ellen will be touched to know she's got her wind chime, but everything else is just gone. And her neighbors are all gone. Roxia, Sandra, I am sharing their GoFundMe account on social media, and we'll have it on our website, foxla.com. I know a lot of folks want to help. There are so many stories of need. And Roxy and Sandra, and I think this is worth mentioning, on Wednesday, just hours after the fire started, I said on television that when all is said and done, I remember this moment so clearly, I said, when it's all over, I think all of us are either going to know someone personally or we're going to know a friend who has a friend who lost a home, who lost a business, who lost something important to them. I'm now at 7. Wow. 7 people. 5 of them I know personally. 2 of them are related to good friends of mine. And they have lost absolutely everything. And it is absolutely devastating when you think this is a Navy veteran and his wife. He's 82. They have nothing left to come back to. Nothing. And they're so grateful they got their rescue dogs out. But they have nothing else to come back to. So we're all hoping that the generosity of everyone will help these families somehow rebuild, and they'll be able to live their last years in peace. Sandra and Roxia.
Gigi, you have the biggest heart, and you've been the one there on the front lines through all of this, seeing the devastation happen firsthand in the fires, and then now reporting on the aftermath, and knowing that this has touched so many people in your life. We can understand the emotion it's taking and the toll it's taking on you as well, but you're bringing light to each and every one of those stories.
Gigi, if you can share where they are, obviously they're safe right now, but where are they right now, and how are they doing?
They're so grateful. That's sort of a common thread. My friend Valerie, she was a public school teacher for over 30 years. She just retired. She's lost her home here in Altadena, yet she is so grateful. George and Ellen, they're in a hotel with their dogs. They're just thankful. He's disabled. Again, only has one leg, lost the wheelchair. They were able to get to safety. They are so grateful. My friend Denise's parents, John and Chris, we were at their home in Norwich Village. We're actually going to go back to that entire area that is devastated. He's 95 years old. He worked for JPL for over 40 years. He lost 80,000 pictures that were on hard drives, lost them in the fire of history. He served our country also in the Army, and Denise was just telling me he had 2 cameras that went to war with him. Wow. He called his cameras his best friends because they survived the war with him, and they were left behind and they're lost. They're alive, they're grateful, they're thankful, they're appreciative, but they're also mourning a memory. I'm going to ask photographer Tony Butita just to keep showing, and you can pan over to George and Ellen's neighbors, Tony, because it's not just George and Ellen, and we know their names because I happen to know Ellen. We know them, but, you know, there's the neighbor's house. I mean, who live there? What are their stories? What have they lost that cannot be replaced? It's not all about money. It's not all about rebuilding. It's just about taking such a hard hit, especially like John in Norwich Village. He's 95 years old. He lost all of his physical memories, the tangible things that connect us to who we are. Those are our memories, and they're in our head and in our heart, but it's also tangible things that we can touch and look at. And that is the hard part when we're telling these people's stories. They're all grateful. Again, I can't begin to tell you how grateful. That's the common thread. They keep telling me, we're thankful, we're grateful. But still, it hurts their hearts.
It's so remarkable. Yeah, the spirit of this community that has lost so much, their whole lives in those homes. But the fact that they are in a grateful spirit, and so many people saying they're hopeful and they're resilient. And you hear time and time again these families say that they're in good spirits, oddly enough, despite the fact that they've lost everything.
And Sandra and Aroxia, one of my friends who lost their home yesterday told me that last Wednesday, a week ago today, they applied for help from FEMA. And yesterday, they were surprised to find a direct deposit in their account. It's $700. It is only for incidentals. It is only a first payment. There is much more help available out there. And a lot of folks on social media are saying, oh, it's $700. That's so petty. That's so little. That's nothing, blah, blah. It is in the big scheme of things, but it is just the first payment of help. And you know what my friend said? She goes, I was so thankful to see that in my direct deposit. I can't believe it. In less than a week, they've given me $700. I can go out and buy some food. I can pay for just the little things that, I mean, they don't, you know, these folks left, they don't have a toothbrush, they don't have toothpaste. You know, you reach for your hairbrush and you don't have a brush to comb your hair or a comb. They have to replace all of those things. Those are just little things. And while it may not seem like a lot of money to many people out there, $700, my friend was so grateful. It was all about gratitude for every single piece of help that they are receiving. And I am going to show George and Ellen's GoFundMe account on our website, foxla.com. I'm also posting it on our social media. I know a lot of folks want to help out there. And at least, you know, I can tell you that this is going to a deserving family. Again, a life of public service. They both served in the Navy. George was assigned to a submarine for 8 years. And so they proudly served our country. And now I'm hoping that we will all reach out and help them, and among all the other people.
We need to get George an electric wheelchair, and I have no doubt in no time that's going to happen. I have faith in that. Gigi, thank you so much for sharing their story and the other stories of people you know. And you're absolutely right. So many of us know someone in some way, shape, or fashion who's been directly impacted by all this, and we'll continue our best to tell these stories.